What up? What up?
Yes, sir. Here we go.
How you doing, my brother?
You know, it's good to be back. It's just good to be back. Finally. I've been waiting. I said, we don't know what we're gonna do. Yeah. But we back at it, man. I'm glad to be here, man.
So good to see you, baby.
Yeah.
Sir. Well, welcome, fellas. And make sure y'all can hear me good. Welcome to the Fellowship Podcast.
Yes, indeed.
So we had a little bit of a change up. If you followed me yesterday, I said we were going to be talking about grief today.
Yeah. You did say that.
Yeah. So we got to switch it up a little bit.
You know,
our guest was not able to make it on. So
that's all good.
We're going to fly solo.
We got plenty. Listen,
we got plenty of time
to talk about. I can run my mouth. You can run yours. We got plenty to talk about, Doc.
Yes, sir. So tonight we're going to pivot to silent frustration.
Okay, that's
So
good
that's
time.
what we're going to be talking about
Good.
tonight. So,
You could be my therapist today. I got a lot to get off my chest.
so I'm going to put a little bit of a thought out there about silent frustration. So, and you know, if you tune into the fellowship, you know we're always talking to the fellas, but it's here to resonate with anybody. And obviously, any of the fellas who have a lady, we definitely want you listening in good too, because hopefully you'll be able to help your man out with some of these frustrations that go south.
Some nuggets, man, so you can be like, hey, he just talk to you. He don't even know you got from us. It's all good.
Exactly. So one of the synonymous terms to frustration is annoyance, disappointment, and then that or those things can morph into anger.
Annoyance and disappointment. That turns into anger.
It can turn into anger if unchecked or if it goes too long.
Yeah.
So as you all know, we have a thing with if it happens on the ship, it gets put on the altar. We're not talking just to be talking. Talking is good. We want to get it out. It's a safe place for men. So we want to get it out and empty out. But in the end of it all, we want to have some hopefulness.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Every episode is designed to bring something out of it to where we can go forth and be 1%-3% better than we were when we started the conversation. Yeah. So saying that also, dealing with frustration it's about feeling a certain way due to the inability to change a thing, to change an outcome, or maybe even to change a person.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we're frustrated because we want her to change.
Yeah.
Or we want the kid to change, or we want the boss to change, or the pastor, or whoever it is, we're business partner.
Yeah.
We want something or someone, to change. And a lot of times that can lead to frustration as well. And then finally, it's about the prevention of progress, success, or fulfillment. So those are how the silent frustrations can get in and stay.
Yeah.
Because we feel like something's being prevented from happening. So I know you said that you had something that you dealt with some time back that was really causing you a lot of angst and even almost more than angst from the sound of it. So he didn't share it with me. I like to leave cliffhangers so that I can hear stuff when you guys hear it. So let's talk about it.
Before we do, can we ask some more questions? So we kind of
absolutely kind of went right off the deep end. I went to the diving board.
No, we're gonna get into
let's go on the shallows first.
But so we got a good understanding of kind of what silent frustration is, right?
Yeah.
Why do we do it? Why do we not tell when we're hurting or when we're struggling or we can't make ends meet? Why do we, as men, why do we keep that from people? Why do we hold that back?
So a lot of that goes back to when a few weeks ago when we were dealing with the men's mental health in the month of June, and we had Terrell Pugh on. And by the way, we're going to do a part 2 of that next Saturday. And so it's interesting how it keeps coming back around to what he told us and shared with us about messaging. So the answer to your question, it has a lot to do with the messaging that we get as boys.
Yeah.
Don't cry. Suck it up. Be tough. Sometimes we're told to shut up, or the world tells us to shut up. But and we are designed to be wheelbarrows and horses, mules. God designed us to carry
that weight.
But if we don't have a good messaging early on, Even when we carry the football on the football field, or we, trying to dunk a ball, we're always being told you didn't do it right. You didn't do it enough, or you could carry 20 times, you fumble once, and you get hollered at.
Yeah.
And so those messages, they start to silence us because as kids, you're always running your mouth, hollering, jumping, screaming, But the older you get, the more you're told to silence it down, bring it in.
Yeah.
You don't take all that.
Yeah.
Don't do all that.
Yeah, man.
And by the time you're an adult, you're locked in on it. Don't take all that. We ain't doing all that. Man. Let's stay a little quieter. Yeah. Just suck it up, buttercup.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Yeah.
And now we've been closed off more than we've been opened or allowed to be open. And that's what starts to trigger a lot of those silent frustrations.
Wow. Man, I remember being in like middle school, and a girl I was like, "Why you so loud?" After that, I was like, I can feel myself.
Wow.
And then I would just like try to not be myself because I didn't want people to be offended by how loud or boisterous I am. But the older I got, I was like, man, bump up. You know what I'm saying?
She wasn't chosen anyway. Yeah. You didn't even make the cut.
Please. But I think one thing for me that caused me to have silent frustration, the moment I do open up, how you respond to it.
Yeah.
If I say, man, if I tell a friend of mine, hey man, I've been struggling, man. And they be like, what are you struggling? Yeah. I immediately be like, okay, I'm never telling you.
Yeah, right. Mark that.
Right. Like,
mark that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's for me, that's what it was. Once I expose myself or let you behind the curtain, and you see me for who I really am, not this kind of facade that we put on for people. But once you see me, if you treat me a certain way or you don't handle me well, I'd be like, man, I ain't never doing that again.
Yeah. That's a key factor.
Man, yeah.
That's a key factor.
That's for me. That's what it was.
Yeah. Because the key, well, they're both key. Both are key words, but the first word, silent. Mm-hmm. That's what we're talking about, because it's like that person silenced you for them.
Yeah.
And if you get enough of that to where you start muting people, then eventually you're going to mute yourself.
Yeah. I
think about that.
100%. Yeah.
Because at some point you're like, you know what? No one's really safe for me to do this with, to be my authentic self. Mm-hmm. They want the pretentiousness because they're pretentious or whatever. Yeah. But a sidebar on that. That's why it's important that the ladies in our lives, and that could be, it obviously can be a spouse, it could be a significant other, but it may even be your mom.
Yeah.
It could be, your older sister and auntie. It's important what they say to us or how well they do or do not listen. That can aid and abet us being silently frustrated, 100%. Or it can get us off of that.
Yeah.
Because to your point, when we share it with them, now we ain't with our boys, we're with our either, like I said, our lady or our moms. Yeah. Those are the people who's supposed to be the safest.
Yeah.
And when they tell us to bring it down, or when they say, hey, what do you mean you're frustrated? I'm worried about the bills. How you gonna be worried about them too? Now I don't feel so safe.
Right, I ain't safe with you. Now even more stress on you.
You're gonna get silent with her too.
Right. 100%. Now that's a big thing that me and my wife have been working through, man. Like I said, sometimes when you get married, they don't give you like the real of what you should be concerned with. They don't really talk about like, hey, you're gonna have some conversations that's gonna really be hard to handle, and you're gonna have these tools to get through them. And if you don't, you immediately, I've been a victim of that. I immediately just be like, I ain't telling you nothing else.
Right.
And she'd be like, well, why didn't you tell me this? Why didn't you tell me that? I'm like,
last time
I told you. Right.
They help me.
You know what I'm saying? But we definitely, man, we've been working through those kind of things, man. I'm recognizing, man, that your wife or your spouse, like you said, family members, they got to be a place for us to be ourselves.
Absolutely.
They got to be that.
Yeah. And that's why, even when we get community, and, for us, that's church. But people have different communities that they get in. Even when you're in your community, it's supposed to be, at least you think it is, a safe place for you to, share and be who you are. And sometimes people, they'll go to their pastor, they'll go to a leader that's in the church, or they'll go to their boss at work, wherever they feel like, hey, this is my community, I can go here and say this. If that's ever used against you, or not seen the way that you want it seen when you deliver it, that then comes back around to you being silently frustrated. So I hope you're catching this. it happens incrementally. It's not like all in one fell swoop.
It builds up over time.
It builds up over time. But then everybody gets that. But then the key part of it, of course, is now not only are you silent, you've muted yourself or you've muted others who need to really hear from you. But now the frustration part is starting to kick in. And again, that goes to annoyance and disappointment, sometimes anger or harshness. I remember my wife and I, we were counseling a couple of years back. We still counsel here and there, but 2 years ago when we were made like a boot camp, it was really intense for like 6 weeks. And throughout the course of it, because there was several couples in that one. So like I said, it was a boot camp. So it was probably 8 couples or something like that, maybe 6. Anyway, one of the things that the counselors kept saying to all of us throughout was dealing with us talking, and men in particular talking angry to their wives, talking on a 10 and being mad, tone of those kinds of things. And for the longest, I didn't see myself when they would say that because, I don't rah-rah at my wife. I'm not yelling and cussing around. Some of those couples, they were dealing with that. Yeah. So I didn't see myself in that because I wasn't doing that. But one night toward the end of the 6 weeks of boot camp, he used the word harsh. When he used that word, man, you could have bought me for a penny.
Oh, wow.
Because I finally saw myself in that word.
I see.
Because I was talking harsh to my wife.
Yeah. Not raising your voice, but still cutting.
Yeah, just cutting. And sometimes not. A soft answer turns away wrath, right? That's what the Bible says. I wasn't using soft answers a lot. You don't have to cuss somebody out for it to be, damaging. But I say that back to, I also was silently frustrated. Yeah. And so there were things I wasn't saying to her because I felt like, well, if I say it, it's going to get used against me because the last time I said it, this is what we're talking about. And that frustration then caused me to be harsh. Yeah. So that's another word we can add to that. You're annoyed, you're disappointed. Maybe you're not angry yet, but you're harsh. Yeah. It's still going to morph into something way worse at some point.
Yeah, because I be thinking, I be hiding it. And my wife be like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Yeah. But it's something there. She's like, yeah, okay. I ain't gonna mess with you, but you eventually you're gonna tell me what's up. And eventually I'd be like, you remember about 2 weeks ago? Yeah. Like, and I'm like, well, I tried. Remember we talked the last time I told you you didn't hit me well? Yeah. So yeah, man, I'm learning like don't let that stuff go on. Just don't let it linger.
Exactly.
Just talk about it. It's hard because you want, like you said, you feel that rage or you feel that something bubbling up in you, but you gotta learn how to just harness it. Okay, I'm upset, but we're gonna walk through this, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But we all working and growing through that, man.
Yeah. And even like I said, we know that it's not just relegated to home life, right?
Yeah.
So
especially in school, work.
Yeah. So on
church.
That note, I had something happen at work, or I addressed it rather this week, but I'm a branch manager. And so for weeks, I've been dealing with some things at work with some of the other leaders that, we're supposed to be working in tandem, obviously. Okay. But that the communication and the camaraderie had been frayed. Mm-hmm. And I can see that over several weeks that has been occurring. And when I tell you I was silently frustrated because sometimes you don't want to deal with something, and that can lead to silent frustration. Yes. I didn't want to deal with it because I was concerned about the fallout of it. Okay. See, unlike if I'm dealing with my wife, I'm in covenant with her, so there's benefit to us not squabbling all the time. You know what I'm saying? You want peace in your house. Yeah. But at work, you're like, yo, you get a check for this. Yeah. And I don't really want to keep dealing with you like this because you should be professional enough to rise above that. You're a leader. And I was silently frustrated because I wasn't addressing it. Because I was like, I don't want the fallout. I don't want an attitude afterwards. Yeah. What if they don't take it the way I want them to take it? Then it's going to get worse. Yeah. And then the team is going to be adversely affected.
People affected by how. Yeah,
and so there's so many different ways and places that we allow that frustration to become silent. Yeah. And I had silenced myself from talking to him. And that kind of put him on mute because he had silenced me first. But now so anyway, long story short, I finally sat down and had that meeting this week. Yeah. The one thing I didn't want to do, I knew it was going to be uncomfortable, but I was like, you know what? We got to go for the jugular. Do it. So this is that part where I want the conversation to include the hopefulness.
Yeah.
You can't get there if you're not willing to go ahead and have the conversation, but sometimes it's confrontation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't have to be a negative confrontation.
Yeah.
But you have to be willing to confront it.
There we go. Okay.
Get in front of the person or the thing.
Okay.
Because if you don't do that, it's going to remain a silent frustration.
I like that.
And I'll be doggone, man, that we was in that meeting a little over an hour. First 20, 30 minutes, it was contentious, you know, but we kept plowing and kept talking, man to man. And it took a turn and things got better and all. Like, it was just like that. By the end of it, it was like it had never happened.
Turn that thing around.
So that's the one thing the enemy don't want, whether it's in the house, at work, at church, wherever it is. He doesn't want that unity. Yeah. And that's a lot of times it's planted there to keep us from being unified. Just hit the mark on that.
That's good.
That's why it's really there, because every good and perfect gift comes from God. So if it's an imperfect gift and it's a bad thing, guess who it's from? It's from the enemy. He don't want you to get what it is that you're there to do. Go ahead and have. Yes, you know. So anyway, I don't know if we plow enough ground for you to tell your story. I want to hear the story. That was good. That thing was like a you haul box. That thing got unpacked quick.
Yeah, man. But before we started, I was saying I had dealt with silent frustration, and it almost took me out. Yeah. I leave college, and the girl I was with at the time, you know, we were just young, thinking, just, you know, how you young and free, just doing whatever you want. And I'll never forget a friend of mine, he asked me, he was like, "Hey man, are y'all being safe? Are y'all using protection?" And I was like, "No." And he just like, the conversation kind of slowed down. He was like, "What if she gets pregnant?" And I looked at him and I was like, "I don't know." It wasn't 2 weeks later. She was like, "Hey, I'm late. I'm late." I was like, "Oh no." And so me, where I was at the time, I'm young. I'm like, I don't want no kids. I got a girlfriend, but I'm still just wilding out. Yeah. And I was just like, okay, let's just get an abortion, you know. And she was like, "No, I'm not gonna kill my baby." And I'm grateful that she had the wisdom to say no to that. You know, when you're young, you're not thinking like, you know, I'm thinking this gonna just stop my life. It's gonna stop what I'm doing. But anywho, I was frustrated because she didn't want to comply with what I wanted to do. And because of my upbringing, both of my parents are ministers. My dad was a pastor, assistant pastor for a long time. My mom is still an evangelist. If you talk to her today, she's gonna ask you, "Do you know Jesus?"
What's up, Mom? What's up, Mom?
You know Jesus. You say, hey, you know you say.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
But
how you know you say?
Yeah. Like that. And they were together before my dad passed for like almost right around like 40 years. They've had, you know, big family. So the structure and I guess kind of the idea of where I should be was already set. You should get married, start a family. So to me, what I was doing was so far from what they were doing. I was like, I can't tell them that this is going on. I was like, no, man. I was like, man, if my parents find out, and I'm grown, I'm like 20, 21. But I was still like, if they find out, my life is over. So I was like, well, I ain't telling them, you know. So and I was mad at the girl because she didn't want to have the abortion. And there was contention. We just fussing, arguing. You know, I was just mean, like you said, harsh, mean to her. I would go to the doctor's visit and just sit there, wouldn't say anything, just making her feel bad. And it was literally inside, I'm dying, eating me up. And at one point, it got so bad for me that I was just like, I'm just going to end my life. I'm just going to end it, because what the thought of telling my family that I was having a child out of wedlock was just like, I couldn't fathom it. And I'll never forget, man, it was like, I don't know where I went. I was like just riding through the city, just riding, just thinking like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to end it all? You know what I'm saying? And I never forget, I used to go to the movies all the time. I would go and just watch a movie and then I would stay and watch another. Just sitting there, just watching movies.
So you were still in movies?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm keeping up. You paid for the first one.
We didn't want to talk about that part of it, but I was still in time. Look, I bring a book bag and everything. I had some snacks in that mug.
I couldn't resist. I just wanted to get
It's like they never said
the Bible said, all I get, it didn't understand. I want to understand.
They never said nothing. I ain't paid for it. I've been on watch two, 3 movies, and I just like, it's all good. The popcorn was enough. They got the money back. It's all good. So I had watched a movie, and there was another movie playing called it was TD Jakes' like first movie. Was it Woman Down Loose? Did he make a movie called that?
Yeah, the one where she was in the cage where not the cage, but the jail, and she was stealing something with popsicle sticks.
There we go.
Yeah.
So I go to the movies, I see that movie, and I'm just weeping. I don't know. It's like something hit me in that movie, and I was like, I can tell my parents. I can let somebody know. But so I went to my dad's house, and he was like, I go in the house, and it's like maybe 1 a.m. He looks at me, he's like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "Oh, nothing, I'm good. And he just kind of gave me this look like, "You sure?" I was like, "No, damn, fine. Trust me, I'm good." So I went in the bathroom. I'm like, how am I going to tell him? How I could tell him, and I couldn't. So I just started writing it down. I was like, I literally just like everything that had been happening, getting this girl pregnant, not being able to really find a job that I wanted, just all this stuff that had been building, because the kid was just one aspect of it. But, I had just got out of college, couldn't find a job, living in my parents' basement, just all these different things that were just piling up on me. So I just started writing everything down. Man, Dad, I did this, I did that. I've been going through this and that. And so at the minute, I hear a knock on the door. It's like, "Son." It's like, yeah. Huh? He's like, "You okay?" And I was like, "Nah, Dad, I'm not okay." And he was
right.
Yeah,
just being able to say no.
I'm not okay.
Yeah.
He was like, "What's going on?" And I opened the door and I said, "Here." And he was like, "What's up? Tell me what's going on." I was like, "I can't." I said, "Just read it." And he read it. He looked at me, gave me a hug. He said, "Son, I'm sorry that you've been carrying this." He took me to a friend of his who's another pastor. And I'm thinking like, they gonna like maybe fuss at me, like, "How could you do this?" And both of those guys and me got down on our knees and just started praying.
Wow.
And when I tell you, it felt like a building like lifted off of me.
Yeah.
And that for the first time in I don't know how long, I felt like this. I was free.
Wow.
And from that point on, I started going to church, ended up giving my life to Christ, and my life began to really take a turn.
Yeah.
But man, if it had not been, it was like it wasn't just one thing.
Yeah.
But it was a chain of events that was like, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
But if I hadn't told my dad what was going on, man, I wouldn't be here. Because I had been contemplating. I was like, I'm out of here. I can't deal with this. Because when you got somebody pregnant, you're young, they calling, "Hey, what you gonna do?" And this, it was just frustrating. I had never dealt with it. Yeah. And I wish I would have told somebody earlier so that they can say, "Okay, cool. Y'all gonna keep the baby? Cool. All right, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna find a job, you're gonna do this, you're gonna doctor's appointments." They would kind of walk you through it. Yeah. But I hid it for so long. And I think people do that so much, man. And one of the questions I was going to ask was, what does silent frustration lead to? Yeah. And that's one of the things that leads to it. Keeps you, it's like you feel like wait. Yeah. And before you know it, you're like crawling and groveling, trying to get air. Yeah. And you're like, I don't have no other option. I got to get out of here. You know what I'm saying? So that's what.
And see, that's why, every topic we always hit these apexes, right?
Yeah,
because I mentioned earlier that firstly, every good and perfect gift comes from God, right? The reverse of that, because the devil mimics God, but on the negative side.
Right.
So every imperfect and every bad thing comes from the enemy. And it's all for the purpose of kill, steal, destroy.
Trying to take you out.
So his purpose for your silent frustrations was for you to destroy yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
First of all, he wanted you to destroy the baby. So let's not miss that.
Exactly.
And then he wanted you to destroy you, since he missed the baby.
Yep.
So he has a maniacal purpose on everything. And that's why it's key that we deal with these silent frustrations, and we have to find a way. So a couple ways that you found a way. One you walked into when you was in that movie theater. That was a godly intervention.
That was God for me.
That's all that was. You couldn't control that. God just showed you how much He loved you, and He intervened. And then that started the water break because your water broke. Your water broke when you started crying. The thing we're told not to do. Back to the messaging.
100%.
So that's another way to deal with silent frustrations. Go ahead and get that out.
And see, that was one thing. When I was young, I didn't really cry around my dad. I mean, one time in the basketball game, I hurt my leg real bad. And I was on the bench, and they're like, "Oh, you gotta play." And I was like, "I'm trying, man." I was getting up trying to walk, and I couldn't walk. And my dad was behind the bench, and I was like, "Dad, it hurts." And he's like, "Hey, you're crying. You're crying." And I was like, "It hurts."
What else? What else am I supposed to be doing with this moment, right?
Like you said, that messaging, he was teaching me like, no, don't be out here crying in public. So I wouldn't cry. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't show my emotion because of that. But so even when I finally, broke down and told him what was going on, I was crying. I thought that, like I said, I thought he would come down and he was like, "No, son, this is, it's okay. It's gonna be all right."
Good for your dad.
Yeah,
because he understood there was a moment where that messaging.
All that stuff out the window, man.
It didn't need to apply. Another piece that you did there that helped with the frustration was you started writing. Because you couldn't get it out verbally in the moment. But that writing, that was something else that was used for your therapy. Because we hear often that writing is cathartic.
Man, it is.
And cathartic simply means, well, not simply means, because it's a really dope meaning. It's therapy of the heart. Cathartic. It's therapy of the heart. So when your heart starts speaking, and typically that happens through penning something. That's where songs and poetry and movies and stuff come from. People get their thoughts out. So if you're dealing with something that's really frustrating you, whatever the level of silent frustration is, a key thing there could be to just start writing, let it get out in some manner. And you may have to hand it to your wife. You may have to hand it to your significant. You may have to hand it to your boss in the email. Be careful. Don't hit the send button until you know you got it right. But you may have to get it out that way in order to open an audience opportunity
100%.
to be able to talk. Because if you don't get it out, he's trying to get you to go in some corner or some rooftop and take yourself out. And that can happen not just through the grave. There's other ways to die.
100%, man.
You could just
kill your marriage, kill your job.
There you go.
Come in the job and go off and get fired. There's all kind of ways to die.
He don't mind how you destroy a thing. He don't mind how you kill a thing. He's just after you to make sure that it's done. Is it dead yet? That's all he cares about. So it's important. So let's talk a little bit about. We are going to be a little bit more specific and intentional about talking concerning silent frustrations between a man and a woman. Because we were talking about this a little bit before we went live. So it was like, we do real and raw around here anyway. So it's always going to be righteous, but it's real and raw. So, we won't go too deep with it, but we know that there are men, because we are men, and we hear it a ton and read about it, where men are silently frustrated because of intimate issues or sexual issues with their significant others, be that it's not happening enough and that's what's got them frustrated, or there's performance issues, things like that. And so we can talk a little bit about that. Like I said, we're not trying to go too deep about it, but what we said before we came on live is that that's where those are those times where we're talking. If we ever get our nerve up to talk about that to our significant other, it's going to be imperative that she understands what her role is in that role.
Listen to me.
That role is to listen.
Got to
listen.
Listen to this word.
Because we're not becoming vulnerable in that moment to hear a lot of feedback.
Man.
And the feedback is well intended. We talked about that. You mean well when you talk back to us. You don't want us to feel that way. And But for some reason, as men, it doesn't translate to that for us. Not when it comes to sex or sexual issues. Or just, now, the only thing you can do, if we're talking to you about our frustration because you're not having enough sex, definitely you got to talk, but you can do something. Yeah. We still don't need you to talk about it, but we do need you to be about that business.
You get it. You understand.
You get it. But if it's something that we're frustrated about because of performance issues or anything in that realm, that's that piece where we really just need you to be like Job said about his friends. I wish y'all would have talked.
Right. Be silent.
I wish you would have just sat with me in silence. So keep that in mind. But the men, we still have to make sure it's our responsibility, fellas, to talk about what's frustrating us. We got to find a way. Be it verbal, written, like we said, and whatever else. It may be where you just go fishing and you talk to the fish. It may not even be a person there.
Right.
But you got to get it out.
I remember my dad, he used to go fishing with our old pastor. It'd be him, maybe about 3 or 4 of them. They go out on a boat and they'd be going all Saturday. And they took me, I think 1, maybe 2 times. But I remember the first time they took me. Because matter of fact, my dad was out of town. He was still on the road. And my pastor came back. He's like, "Hey, where's Bob? We're gonna go fishing." It was like early in the morning. I was like, Mom was like, "Yeah, he still ain't back yet." And I was like, "Mama, can I go?" And she was like, "No, they can't go." And he was like, "Yeah, he can go." And I'm like, "Well, I'm going."
How old were you?
I was 6, 7.
Oh wow, you were young.
I was young. And when I tell you, I know for a fact they were glad when they dropped me off. So I talked the whole time. You just see the cartoons where they sitting there fishing and the kids are rambling on. So I was like, "So what we do now?" He was like, "Nothing." It's like, "So y'all just sit here, y'all don't talk." I'm just, I'm a kid. I'm just rambling. And once he used to call me Bob Jr. He's like, "Bob Jr., hush." But I recognized, and when I got older, what they were doing during that time, sometimes you need to I don't need to tell you what's going on, but just to have you, like you said, I would rather have just been silent. I'm struggling and I need an outlet. I don't really need to talk, but I need somewhere where me and you can just sit and chill. We're watching the game. And that brings comfort and release. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of games, I got to say this real quick. Ladies, one more thing. But wait, there's more.
Right.
When we are watching games,
talk.
That is not the time to be talking to us about other stuff.
It
is not. We love y'all, but that is not. That's because no, seriously, it may seem like we're being funny when we say that, but that's one of those unspoken ways that we're feeling to figure out how to deal with something.
All kinds of stuff be going on in your mind.
And so that place, it may be a PlayStation for some guys. Now, you don't want it to go crazy because some things can be extreme. So if it's an extremity, ma'am, you got every right to try to talk to your dude. But if it's reasonable, and that's just our place where we're getting away, would you rather us be there in the house watching TV or on the PlayStation or somewhere where you don't know where we are?
At Hooters.
So, consider that too. But in all seriousness, that's not the time to have a bunch of dialogue with us or talk to us about bills or anything else. That's that place where we really just need a respite.
Now, if you want to sit and just watch the game with me and rub my back while I'm watching,
or you want to know about the sport,
that's one thing.
We can tell you about the sport. You know what I'm saying?
I was telling my wife, I was like, it feels good to tell you about something. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is something that I'm familiar with. Let me teach you. You know what I'm saying? That feels good to do.
And I give Tequila absolute credit on this because she had no interest in sports
when
we met.
Oh, wow.
And now she's a Roll Tide fan.
That's hilarious.
She knows some of the plays because she didn't know what a field goal was. She didn't know what a PAT was. Now she knows because she asked and I would answer. And now even our 3-year-old, Tamara Roll Tide in half a second. Let
me tell you a quick story.
I want to get off the subject
too, that's good. We'll jump back into it. But so I used to live in Tuscaloosa, right? So when I first went down there, me and this girl I was dating, we were at a restaurant. So I see all these. What's that pattern that Bear Bryant suit? Houndstooth, right? Okay, so I see all this stuff. I see these fedoras everywhere. I see his picture on the. I mean, it was literally it was everywhere. Yeah. And I didn't know that we were literally on, because like where their university is, there's all these restaurants and stuff that's like literally right there by the campus. Yeah. So I didn't know. So I'm just sitting there, we eating. You know, I love to talk. So it's a dude sitting next to me. I'm like, hey. I said, who is Bear Bryant? This is no joke. People, you could hear forks dropping. You know how in the movies everybody look at the same time? Yeah. I said, it's like everybody heard me say, shh. He looked at me and said, you ain't from around here, are you? I said, oh, man, I'm from Marietta. I'm from Atlanta. You know, I'm from Atlanta. He's like, he went on a 5-minute tangent about how Bear Bryant is the best coach ever. And I was just like, I mean, I was sitting there, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Tired roll. He's another roll. But yeah, that's funny. That's good. That's
so all of that to say, you know, those are opportunities that we're taking to perhaps deal with something we're frustrated about. Yeah. And in that moment, we get to shut that off. Yeah. And roll tide or War Eagle or Go Dogs, you know, whatever it is. Yeah. You know, we're in that moment. Yeah. And so it's important. It's a fluid thing, man, for real. Like, because what we've talked about, like it has 7 or 8, 9 different nuances and doors that you can go through to either deal with it, pause it, because sometimes it needs to be paused. Yeah. But it always needs to be understood that we got to do something with it. Yeah. Because if we don't, then, you know, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt way more than it's going to help.
And one thing I found is that if I don't deal with issues or emotions or whatever the case may be, if I don't deal with it, when I finally do, it's like vomit. Mm-hmm. It just shoots out. Instead of me being, and afterwards I'd be like, why did I say that? Why did I do that? Yeah. But it's because it's been building. That's key. This like pressure that's been building. If I don't release it, when it finally does come out, it's like, then now I'm like, oh, I'm sorry I said that. Now I'm apologizing. When I was the one that was offended or hurt or was struggling, and you know, whatever the case may be. But I'm like, dang, I'm working on that. It's rough, like I said, because sometimes you want to have those conversations, but you know, or you think you know what the outcome is going to be. Yeah. Or if I tell a coworker something, they're going to blow up. Right. So I keep it to myself. Right. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. And then when I finally do say something, it comes off kind of mean or harsh, like you said. It's like, well, you did this, and they like, wait, why you? Yeah. They looking like, why are you talking to me like that? Exactly. But it's been building up.
And you're the only one that knows it's been building. Yeah. Nobody. Which is unfair to the person that is being projected.
Yeah, man.
You know, even when they may have been part of the cause, it's unfair to them if you're not incrementally talking about it. Say that, because now it's like, okay, I helped cause this, but why you didn't tell me that 6 months ago? Right, exactly. Or 2 years ago. Why you unloading on me now?
The main thing, you could have been said something.
Yeah. So that's not fair either. So that's why it's important that we, you know, get it out. I know you wanted to ask me or kind of have me talk about, you know, me being a certified life coach and when that switch needs to take place from who you're talking to. So I'll let you set that up so we can kind of segue into that.
Yes, because like when we would before we start, it's like you don't necessarily know, because one, like you said, or like we talked about earlier, sometimes when we do show our cards, people will come down on us or talk bad to us. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you don't know who to talk to. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So like, so let's say if it's a job situation, you know, and you don't know really how to talk to a coworker about some kind of, you know, conflict y'all are having. Should you go to that person first, or should you talk to somebody beforehand and be like, bro, am I crazy? Is something is something there? Should I even address it? Like, how do you know when to actually talk to somebody? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I think, of course, the Bible says in the multitude of counsel is safety.
Yes.
So it's always prudent to speak to someone, a confidant or someone that's close, that's unbiased. Okay. That's always good first, because to your point, you want to know, hey, yo, am I tripping? Right. Or is this really a thing? Right. Right. So with in regard to work, 100% of what happens with me being a manager at work, I come home and talk to Tequila about it.
Okay.
100% of it.
Gotcha.
Because she's wise for one thing, but she doesn't have a dog in the fight.
There you go.
It's not something that's happening between us. So she's a good person to talk to because it's about something else and somebody else somewhere else. Okay. Right. So she sits unbiased and she's able to do the same with me with stuff that happens at her job. But that's a good place to start is with someone you live with or someone who knows you well. Okay. And even somebody who knows sometimes that you do overthink stuff. Yeah. People like that are a good place to start. Okay, in this situation, you're overthinking, you're reaching, or you're being sensitive, or, whatever it is.
You tripping.
You tripping. And you won't get mad at them about it because they're not, the conflict isn't between you two. Right. It's somebody else. So you're more open to hear them. Okay. Because they're talking about how you feel about that over there. Gotcha. Not this. So that's helpful. Okay. So that's counsel you can really count on. And then from there, back to the job piece, because it can be complicated once you decide to, what, I need to deal with this. Yeah. Now, depending on your positioning in the company you work for, you may have to reach to your next level manager, or if you're the manager like I am, I can go to a peer manager, but then I got to be careful about that because I don't want to tell the business of the branch to a peer manager, because what if that person tries to transfer to their location later down the road, nothing to do with conflict, but I've already put something in their ear about that person. Exactly. Right. So you have to be, this thing has levels to it. So now I got to decide, what, I'm going to go to HR instead. Okay. Gotcha. Because they have to be unbiased. That's their job. And they can't play favorites and da da da. So that's where it's important to know when and who to go to next, when to go and who to go to next. And that can be applied to any relationship or situation, but because we're talking about jobs, that would be the order that I would do that.
Okay, so then, that's a job. Yeah. Give you a couple scenarios. So then what about like home life? Let's say, like we talked about earlier, let's say you're dealing with something with your spouse that's intimate. And then you can't tell everybody that kind of thing. For sure. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's let's say it's not on your end. Let's say it's something that she's doing that's not doing. Yeah. You can't tell, hey man, you can't tell your homeboy, man, my leg don't eat. No, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So what would be the best way to handle that kind of situation? So
that one, you like, it is only one way to go with this.
Gotta bite the bullet.
No. I'm saying directionally, you can only go in one direction to keep it from being a real problem. This is your point. You can't just go right and tell that to just anybody. So let me ask, has it, or is there a place of comfort to deal with her on it already? Or are you past that? You've already tried that? Or you just saying it's at the inception and you just want to know where to go with it?
Let's say it's at the inception. Okay. It's just like the startup.
All right. So if it's at the start, back to what I said about if it was workplace, you go to the person that knows you best. If it's at the inception and it just became a problem,
just
start with her. Okay. You want to go to her. You want to give her first opportunity to help deal with, talk through whatever it is. Okay. Now from there, because it's going to build pretty quickly, because now that is contention here, and that goes fast.
Yeah, it go from zero.
Yeah, so you'll know pretty quickly
get hot quick.
if that's okay to just keep it there. Right. Because if you feel any resistance, if she changes, you change anything like that, now you got to go. If you love it, and I'm sure you love them. If you care about the health of the relationship, and you do, you can't keep that right here now. Right. Because now you're going to have contention. Gotcha. You're going to have stress. Mm-hmm. So from there, that's when you start, all right, who do I go to next? Yeah. And really the only safe place to go, well, not the only safe place, the first best safe place to go is in prayer. If you are a praying person. Yeah. If you're not a praying person, that part may not resonate with you, and that's okay. But if you are, that would be the way to go for sure. And then from there, human interaction would be, you can go to a pastor, mutually agree to do so. Gotcha. Not you deciding to go. Why you? I don't mean you, but the person deciding to go. And
you don't pop up in the
hey, we're getting ready to go talk. Yeah, what? You don't want to do that. It has to be mutually acceptable.
Right.
In fact, anything at this point would have to be mutually agreed upon.
Okay.
Even if there's some resistance, you can appeal to the fact, hey, this is our relationship.
Yeah.
Love each other. We're at an impasse, but we don't want this thing to grow and fester and become a silent frustration and annoyance, all the words we've used.
Yeah.
So we need to agree. You don't want to be pushy, but you do want to be matter of fact. And I don't really like that word. You want to be assured that we must go see someone.
Okay, gotcha.
But I want us to go and have as much agreement as possible.
Yeah.
And then from there, that will either look like a leader that you guys already trust, and that leader could then be a parent if you both are mutually agreeable. You see what I'm saying? Because you may have a mom or a dad who is unbiased and able to really regulate, strife between people. But it has to be someone outside of yourself.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it be a friend, because now the friend knows one of y'all is
they're gonna pick sides.
Or they might come try to pick you. Right. Your girl ain't doing this, your boy ain't doing this. I got you.
Exactly.
So you want to be careful with that.
100%.
And all this stuff is real, man.
100%.
All this stuff is real. If you assume it and you don't really know where to go with it, then you mess around there and you put it somewhere where I didn't intend for it to be put over there.
Yeah.
So you got to be mindful. But it is about agreement at that point.
Okay.
And then so you agree to take it to a leader.
Yeah.
Whoever that leader agreeable, you mutually agree is that person to go to, and or now you get into counseling.
Okay.
And that's really the safest place for people who love each other.
Yeah. You know what's
funny? In counseling.
Yeah.
Honestly.
It's funny, when me and my wife first started doing counseling, she would be like, "Why'd you tell them that?" I'm like, "We can't tell anybody else this."
That's what we're here for.
That's what, they're trained to take everything we say and put it in a vault. Trust me. I said, we can say it all here. Cuss, you can yell, whatever's going on internally, this is where you can say it. It's like this is the one place you don't want to hide. You don't want to hide from them. You know what I'm saying? I had to learn that, but
No, it's true.
So that's with spouses. Go ahead.
Well, I'm sorry. There's an intermediary place, which is where somebody like me comes in. So
okay.
I'm a certified life coach, which is what we talked about prior to coming on. That's another place where you can take something like that to.
Okay.
And mutually agreed upon.
Okay.
Again, because most certified life coaches, although our certification is general or broad, we end up niching down what segment that we want to speak to or be the go-to in. And that may look like a relationship certified coach.
Okay.
Or life coach. Financial life coach.
I see.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
On and on and on.
Okay.
Where it switches to having to come from us to a licensed therapist is all contingent upon what we hear during these sessions.
Gotcha.
That lets us know we can still intermediate and help, or they got something else going on that's above my pay grade, if you will, my level of knowledge and information.
Okay.
Now you got to go see a therapist, someone who's clinically trained and maybe even have, well, not maybe, but they have degrees and things like that.
Gotcha.
And then from there, that next level is psychosis, where you may have to deal with somebody who has to put someone on medicine.
Okay.
Now, that may not all be what's happened with a silent frustration issue, and it could be. That's the thing. You got to know. That's why they're important.
Levels to it.
There's levels to it.
Okay.
Because if someone has gotten it to the point where they're thinking suicide, that's way past me as a life coach.
Right.
It's sure enough past your mom. Let's make sure we talk about it. It's past the parents, past the pastors. Now you go past me.
Right. So
and you might go past the what did I say? It was after that. A clinically trained person. You may have to go to someone who deals with psychosis, medicine, things like that.
Gotcha. Okay. So what about if it's like so we dealt with like coworker, spouse. What if it's a friend? Like, you got a buddy you've been friends with, and they always do something that kind of gets under your skin.
Yeah.
And one time y'all talked about it when y'all were young, but it's never been dealt with. But maybe now it's happening more and more. And you're like, I don't want to deal with this kind of stuff no more. Is so I guess what I'm asking, because like with friendships, those kind of relationships, if something is wrong, you can kind of just move on from it.
Absolutely.
But if it's a good friend, you're like, they got something that we really want to address it so that you keep and maintain the friendship.
Yeah.
Who do you talk to then? Because do you talk to another one of your friends like, hey, Johnny doing this? Am I tripping? Or do you talk to your spouse?
Has it turned into silent frustration by this point?
Because
this scenario.
Yeah, because you really want to go. You at the point now where you want to go off.
Yeah.
And you've been holding it.
Yeah.
Should you talk to that person and risk, having a heated conversation, or should you talk to another friend and be like, hey, come and talk with us through this?
Well, I think it goes to where. The only way I would bring another friend in is if all three of you are that type of friend for each other.
Okay.
Meaning that's what y'all do anyway. Y'all talk to each other about each other.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because if that's not already set in stone as a tripod type of friendship, then don't bring that other friend in. Because now you're gonna have someone angry at you now.
He can be mad. Johnny gonna be
mad.
What you telling me about that?
That ain't what y'all normally do.
Gotcha.
So that's why that's important to know. Is this the way this friendship is set up?
Okay.
We already go to each other about the other anyway.
Yeah.
If it is, then yeah. And then you can bring the three together and then kind of go from there as to where to go next.
Okay.
If it's not, it's back to the same as it would be with the spouse. Go directly to the friend. Mm-hmm. Look, we talked about this. We're on our third time, our eighth time. Yeah. I'm frustrated with you.
Okay.
Because to your point, this ain't no covenant.
Yeah.
We ain't gotta. Just don't have to like this.
Right.
So we get ready to get this one more shot, or there ain't gonna be no shot for that.
Okay. Gotcha.
And you can be honest and real, and not the person. That's where I would go with that.
Okay.
And then if they don't hear you, you may have to just have friendship without that friend.
Yeah.
And because some people are in your life for a reason, season, lifetime, right? That's when you got to figure out which one are you.
Okay.
Because I think you're not about to be lifetime.
Right. Like this about to be over with.
So what season are we in? Right. And what was the reason you were here? And that's all I want out of this, and then you keep it moving.
Okay.
And I will say, I'll give a true story. I don't know if this person will ever end up watching this episode or not, because I haven't talked to them in years. Okay. But if they should happen to stumble upon it, they'll probably know that's who I'm talking about.
They know who you're talking about. It's you.
It's you. Just so you know, I've never talked to anybody else about it. My sponsors, they're the one who knows. But he and I have been friends for a long time.
Okay.
And we probably do the podcast one day talking about friends.
Okay.
People be talking about friends.
We need it.
Not really, not the full definition of friend. And a lot of stuff gets messed up because of that.
We need a good conversation.
Yeah. It's like, were your friends though, for real though?
Yeah.
Like, were you just using that term loosely?
Yeah.
But I will say this dude, he and I, we were pretty close.
Okay.
And we met through work, but we remained, boys for a while, even after we stopped working together.
Okay.
But honestly, and all along, it was pretty much this way. It was mostly a one-sided relationship in that I gave more and was more, not just more giving, but I was more, what's the word I want to use? Like, I cared more to hear and understand them than they gave back.
You would have showing yourself friendly.
Yeah, it was more about they loved it because that's what they got out of it, was that they got to be center stage. That's a good way to put it.
Okay.
They got to be center stage, and I kept the light on them almost no matter what.
Wow.
Because that's the type of person they were.
Yeah.
So I catered to that because it was like, no big deal. I already know who I am. So I don't need all that. I don't need your attaboys.
Yeah.
But that person kind of needed the applause all the time. So I gave him that. And one day I asked him, after years of friendship and this frustration, I was silently frustrated. I didn't know it at the time.
Okay.
I didn't know it, but looking back on it, I was definitely silently frustrated.
That's good.
Yeah. And so in Apex, when one day I asked them about, like I said, they don't know who it is if I say fully, but I'll just say it because they need to know one day if they ever look at it.
Okay.
So I'm getting ready to get married to Tequila. We're planning our wedding. And I called this person and I want them to be, I believe, my best man. I think it might not my best man. I wanted him to be a groomsman, excuse me. I was considering him for a best man.
Okay.
But I absolutely wanted him to be a groomsman.
Okay.
And it was at least 7 months prior to the wedding date that I called to tell him. I'm super excited to call him, tell him, because he didn't see me through my being married the first time, being divorced, seeing all the pain, then seeing me come back from the pain.
Okay.
Like he's through all that.
Gotcha.
So I'm like, yo, guess what?
Yeah.
I'm in love,
Yeah.
getting ready to get married, da-da-da. And he tells me, first of all, he doesn't really congratulate me. He just kind of, okay, well, yeah, that was first. It wasn't a real congratulations. But the answer to my question of him setting this date aside and being my groomsman, he was like, yo, I'm there for you as long as don't nothing else come up.
Don't let us come up.
As long as don't nothing else come up, I'm good. But if it comes up, even if it's toward the time, and it was a thing that he was trying to break through on, I'll just say it that way. Okay. So he was like, if I get an opportunity to do that, then I ain't gonna be able to be at your wedding.
Oh wow.
I got off that phone, and that was the night I decided about that friendship.
Have you talked to him since then?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I was like, that was not lifetime.
Yeah.
So we have to be willing to make those hard, and that wasn't even worth a conversation.
Right.
Because I didn't have to have it. It wasn't a cut. It was a friendship, I think, or whatever it was. So I said, you know what, I'm good.
Yeah.
And I stopped it. And I had consternation. It wasn't that it was easy. It was hurtful. So men, just so you know, fellas, all this stuff ain't easy that we have to do. It hurt to have to do that.
Yeah.
I missed him for a while.
Yeah.
And that's been some years ago. But I've even talked to my wife about it since then. I've talked to a couple other people, like, should I reach back out? Even though I had made my decision, but I'm like, I know I left him wondering.
Yeah.
But it was better for me. Because I was like, because I wasn't getting any benefit anymore out of that. And if you couldn't drop and segment that day for an occasion like that, I'm like, were you ever really here?
Yeah.
I was there, but were you ever really here?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good. You said something, you said you didn't know that you were dealing with silent frustration. Do you think that that's a common thing where we dealing with stuff and we don't really know we're frustrated with it until it's almost like I said, it's almost like you feel a lot of pressure? Is that the thing where you're dealing with something you don't really know that it's bothering you until it sort of comes to a head?
I'll answer that this way, because of course I'm speaking for me. I'm not an expert on this, but I'm almost one. I'm almost one. No, right.
Yeah.
But I'll say it this way. By the time we're dealing with silent frustration, we know it.
Okay.
We know what it is. We know what it feels like. We may not always ascribe it to this thing, though.
Okay.
So we know what silent frustration is. And it's like, over here, I'm silently frustrated. And right here, I'm silently frustrated. This is happening over here. You may not have taken that and labeled that as silent frustration.
Okay.
So you could maybe not know that you're frustrated about a thing, but you will know what it is. Does that make sense? It almost sounds like an oxymoron.
Say the last part.
So in other words, ABC. So I know I'm silently frustrated about A, whatever A is. Categorize it.
Okay.
Name it, whatever that. And you know what? I know I'm silently frustrated about B, whatever that title, name of that thing is.
Okay.
C, I feel some kind of way. I'm not sure if it's silent frustration.
Okay.
I haven't ascribed silent frustration to C yet.
I see what you're saying. Okay, gotcha.
So on C, you could not know it.
Gotcha.
And it, like I did with him, I didn't really know it until that day that he said, "Oh, I'm with you unless." I'm like, you know what? I've been silently frustrated with you this whole time.
You ain't never been with me.
I'm good.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
yeah,
it becomes clear that that thing has been frustrating me all along.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna nix that.
Okay.
And that's why that's another important piece, because there are things that we have to give our attention to that we're silently frustrated about, that we can't just run up out of, like a marriage or your job or your church. Like some things you don't want to just run up out of. You got to deal with it.
That's going to be my next point.
You got to deal with it. But the stuff that really, like, it ain't life, death, or it don't really, it can be changed out with something without something being catastrophic. You might want to change that out because you need to put your energy over here.
Gotcha. Okay.
It makes sense?
Yeah, I like that. that was gonna be my next question. So we dealt with work, home life, friends, and then the last one was gonna be like, let's say you're at church, and whether it be somebody that you serve with or let's say it's the leader, they say something about you that just really just rubs you the wrong way. Maybe they say it over the pulpit, or maybe they say it in passing. But whatever it was, you like, why they do that?
Yeah.
And maybe it's not a one-time thing. It's how they address you. They call you something or say something that really just it bothers you. You really wanna address it, but because of the hierarchy, so to speak, you're like, I don't know how to say what I want to say or need to say to somebody that's in like a spiritual authority. Let's call it that. How do you deal with spiritual authority when you're dealing with silent frustration?
So we could go scripture. I don't know chapter and verse, but I do know that the Lord tells us we're to go to the brother or sister first.
Yeah.
And we can go more than once. I don't think there's not a time on it.
Right.
We're to forgive 70 times 7. So that's 490. That's a lot. Right. But I don't know about that. I don't know about that math.
I'm still working on that one, but you can listen.
But we're to go to them.
Okay.
And whether that's once, twice, 3 times, or maybe, we can go to them. If anybody knows that song.
Right.
But at some point, if they don't hear you, and I'm paraphrasing, but I know that this is scripture. If they don't hear you, then you can take them to another, an elder, perhaps.
Gotcha.
And now you're going together.
Right.
And then a further, not the whole assembly, but just maybe now 3 or 4 elders or presbytery or leaders. And then from there, it becomes, I think, a decision at that point. Right. You could go into fasting and praying, and there ain't nothing wrong with that either, because you are dealing with a spiritual matter. Right. And maybe you're dealing with a stronghold. Or maybe you just don't deal with that leader. Right. So whatever that might need to look like. Right. You might have to change. You need
to just wash your hands.
Yeah. Okay, but you have to, I think, not have to, but I think it's prudent to do the steps first.
Gotcha.
Because anywhere in those steps, because all these people are also praying people,
right,
and perhaps even people who fast and pray, that stronghold can be destroyed because of you following what God says and how He says to do it.
Yeah, I see that. Okay.
But at some point, the word also says, as much as possible, live peaceably with all men.
Yeah.
So if it becomes a thing where it's no longer possible, then you've done what you do.
Yeah. Wow.
So this has been good, man. We're gonna go on and wrap it up. Any parting isn't even parting.
Dolly
Parting.
I know her. I know Dolly.
Hey, come on, Dolly. Any parting?
Man, no, this has been good, man. Shoot. Listen, I'm gonna be asking. Look, we need to do more shows like this where you let me just ask you some questions, because you got a wealth of knowledge, man, and the stuff that you know and that you've experienced. You just as valuable as the guys that we want to bring on. And then I'm gonna start asking you some more stuff, man. Just this kind of form, me and you sitting down just chopping it up, man.
Yeah, I appreciate this.
That's good, yeah, man.
I know God, He's brought me through a lot, man.
Yeah.
And it's not anybody that's listening. You're going through stuff, all the silent frustrations, all the even the things that you've done wrong.
Yeah.
I've done plenty. We'll have a segment on that about the stuff where I just blew up mansions because of my own foolishness.
Yeah.
But the Word of God says that all things work together.
Yeah.
For the good of them that love the Lord. Now, it may not be a good thing that happened.
But it's still working.
But He can work it for the good if you let Him. And so I just say that to say, I give God for what you give Him thanks, for what you just complimented me on, because I know it's only by His grace that I was able to make it out of a lot of stuff. And then have a voice where I can say things that help people. And not sound like a victim or sound like, someone who's not healed.
Yeah.
Because we talk about that too, where, you're the one that's been doing all the hurting. it's hard for you to get your voice back because it's like, bro, we want to hear you. You over here messing stuff up. Nobody want to hear from you, but God's got to be past all that.
That's good.
And it's for the ears of those who will hear you.
Yeah.
There's always somebody out there who will hear you.
Yeah.
There are also always people who will shut you out.
Yeah.
So you just got to talk.
I'm working on that. I'm learning that, and I'm working on it. Because like you said, I'm one of those people that was told be quiet so much that I'm just like, I don't know what I got to say.
Yeah, right.
But I'm learning like, nah, it's a tribe out there that needs to hear what I say as well. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. And the way you deliver things, there are people who they'll hear it from you differently or better than they'll hear it from me, and we may be saying the same thing, but your delivery gets, it resonates right. It may get through exactly. So again, if you found yourself silently frustrated, hopefully this episode has helped you to, get some tools in your belt to be able to help out. I am a certified life coach. I'm not plugging myself. I'm just saying.
Plug. I'm plugging them. Reach out. Listen, you got the tools you need, man. Reach out.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Yeah. And so you can get to me through the Fellowship Podcast 25 at Gmail. If whoever's listening, if you could just drop that in the chat. I don't have my phone next to me. Yeah. But if you can drop our email in the chat, we would be really appreciative of that. It's Fellowship, just the way you see it on the screen. Fellowship Podcast 25 at gmail.com. You can drop us a line. Let me know if you need to connect with me. And of course, like I said, next week we're gonna have part 2 of our clinical counselor, Terrell Pugh. We can connect you with him. Oh man, that's gonna be we got some great Q&A. We got a couple people who, in fact, that's what we'll last say. Go back and listen to that episode. That was on June 28th. June 28th is where you can find that episode. I think I got that right. I'm wrong. It was June 21st. June 21st.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
June 21st. Terrell Pugh was on with us about the men's mental health. If you haven't watched that segment, go and watch that one. The reason that's key, one, you need to see it if you haven't seen it. If you've seen it, go back and rewatch it, because next week when he comes, he's actually going to be fielding questions from the listeners who had questions out of what they heard him say.
Good.
And so if you got a real life situation that you want him to address, he's going to be answering questions coming from you. So we got to get those questions. So you'll send those questions to that same email, Fellowship Podcast 25 at Gmail. Send your questions there, and we're going to pick some questions and have Terrell to deal with that. So
awesome. Man,
you get to take us out, my brother.
Hey, it's been a good show, man. Hey, thank y'all for watching, man. We appreciate it. Hey, hit us up in the comments, man. Let us know what you like, what you dislike. All the feedback is taken. We appreciate it, man. Love y'all. Listen, like, subscribe, share, hit us up, man. Let us know that you like the show or dislike it. We'd love to hear from you, man. All right.
Until next time, peace out, ship out. We'll see you next week. So what's up, man?
We did it.
Good stuff, baby. Good stuff. Appreciate you.